There we go. I had to run inside really quick. I didn't know I was going to make it back with the 1 minute countdown. Whew. Now I'm out of breath. What's up, everybody? Oh, okay. Hope you're all doing well. Welcome to another 505 interview series. Big D coming at you. Hope everybody's doing well. Got a great show for you tonight. I'm really looking forward to it. Great guest. Got to meet him at PCA, and kind of hit it off. Got a great brand. It's veteran owned. They look great, smell great. Can't wait to fire this up on it. But before we get started, if you're watching on Facebook or anywhere else, I'm all discombobulated because I had to run really quick. Click the link tree that's in the description below. Go support my advertiser sponsors and preferred retail partners. They help continue to keep all the programming going on the show, and your support goes a long way in making sure that we're able to continue to keep the show running good. Whether you're looking for cigars, whether you're looking for accessories, I've got you covered. Make sure you use the exclusive promo codes only available to my viewers out there to save yourself some coinage. Also, Dallas Smokefest is upon us, and again, I am partnered back up with them, and I'm excited to be going back there in November. So make sure down in the description everywhere, I've got a direct link to it. They still have some VIP tickets left. I had so much fun last year. It was a blast. I didn't even feel like I was working. That's how much fun I had, and I highly recommend everybody go. Use the promo code 505review when you check out. You don't have to buy the VIP tickets. You can buy individual tickets, day tickets, general admission tickets, but there's so many awesome events that are going on down there, and they've amped it up even more this year. So make sure you go check that out. Head on over to DallasSmokefest.com. And again, when you buy your tickets, use that promo code 505review there. All right, so now for my guest. My guest has a veteran-owned cigar company out there. It is really the great Brothers in Arms, or HDA, or Hermanos de Armas out there. I got to meet him at PCA. Really cool dudes. Great backstory, great stories. Of course, they're military guys, so they always got awesome stories. And I'm pretty sure how the company got going and everything has a great story behind it, and we'll hear it. But we're going to bring on one of the co-owners of Hermanos de Armas. Let's bring on Zack. And welcome, sir.
What's going on, man? How you doing?
All discombobulated. I had to run inside really quick, and I was like, oh my God, now everything I had to say was like all lost.
I was looking for the oxygen mask around here. I couldn't find one for you.
Welcome, sir. Glad to have you on.
Yeah, thanks for having us on, man. Or I shouldn't say us. Thanks for having me on. Sorry, Andre couldn't be here tonight, so you're stuck with me, man.
I think we'll get by just fine. So, go ahead. Tell the people out there who are watching a little bit about you and a little bit about the brand.
Yeah, man. So my name is Zack. I'm one of the owners of Hermanos de Armas, or HDA Cigars. Andre is the other owner, and we are it. We are the two owners. We started HDA Cigars 13 months ago, so April of 2024. Is when we officially received our very first shipment and started pushing HDA into stores. And we started the company back in 2022. Spent the better part of 2 years making sure that our legal entity and our business was all set up, all the legal stuff, and then also finding a factory, and then eventually coming up with our blends, perfecting our blends, and then narrowing it down, and then coming out with what we have now, which is our core line, made up of 3 different blends. So yeah, that's us in a nutshell. We've been at it for about 13 months now, and enjoying every minute of it.
That's awesome. So what really made you want to start your own brand?
Yeah, that's a good question, man. I think like a lot of people, they get they're really they get involved in a community, or they get involved in something that they greatly enjoy, and they eventually want to figure out a way to turn that into their livelihood. They want to turn that into like a job. And that's kind of what Andre and I had envisioned. So we both started smoking cigars when we were in the military. We really enjoyed the camaraderie, the brotherhood that we felt when we were sharing a cigar with friends, either deployed or stateside. It really just enjoyed the community aspect. We both got out of the military. That's actually where we met, was after we got out of the military, and we both really were trying to figure out a way that somehow that we could get involved, like on the business side of the cigar industry. And so I think like a lot of people, our heads immediately went to starting a cigar lounge, and that was going to be our plan. We wanted to start a cigar lounge. We separately, it should be noted, we have not met at this point, Andre and I, and we both separately decided we wanted to start a cigar lounge. And then we met and realized that each other liked cigars during our day job. And I kind of offhanded mentioned to him, "Hey, man, yeah, I'm actually thinking about starting a cigar lounge." He's like, "Hold on a second." He pulls up his business plan. He's like, "I've been thinking about this for years." So then we went forward and we decided that we were going to open up a cigar lounge. But then COVID hit, kind of derailed things a little bit. Plan had always been that when we started the cigar lounge, we were going to have this awesome house blend. We really wanted to bring in some awesome house blends into our lounge. We wanted that to kind of be like one of our calling cards, is people really enjoyed our house blends. So when COVID hit and prices for real estate continued to go up and the uncertainty also increased, we decided to take a step back, put the cigar lounge idea on the back burners. And instead, we decided, well, why don't we reverse it? We'll just come up with the house blends. So we'll form a cigar brand. And that was in 2022. We got the ball rolling, and the rest is history. Now we're not even thinking about a cigar lounge. Now it's just all the brand. So it all worked out for a reason.
Yeah. So I'm looking here at the at your little card about your blends and what you guys have on there. As you were going through the process of finding a manufacturer and go the blending, did you kind of already know that these three blends that you offer were kind of what you wanted to go with, idea wise, or we're just going to go, let's see what can we come up with, or what the blender can come up with for us?
Yeah, so the answer is we had a general idea of flavor profile, strength profile, where we wanted to hover, at least initially. But we also wanted to understand the factory, understand the tobacco sourcing and what kind of tobacco is readily available by the factory. So when we went in and we actually reached out to the factory that we eventually started working with, we did not have our blends already established. Our blends had not already been made. So when we ended up making a trip, Andre and I made a trip down to Esteli. We were there for about a week, and during that time period is when we really started messing and toying with different tobacco and curating multiple different blends that we would scrap, or we would really try and we basically would be in the factory one day, kind of putting our heads together. Oh man, this would be probably kind of a cool blend. And then we would go back to the hotel and we would send them a text and say, let's try this blend, this blend, and this blend. And we come in the next day and we'd smoke it. And then we'd end up scrapping some, and we'd end up trying some more tobacco. And so it was that process for the better part of a week. And we ended up leaving Nicaragua with 8 different blends that we really, that we enjoyed. So we had those blends rolled, and we let them sit for a little while. And then we ended up smoking through those 8 blends, and we narrowed them down to the 3 that we have here today. So when we went there, we didn't already have a blend established. It was really dependent on what was available in terms of the tobacco that we were able to source pretty easily, to ensure that we have constant stock on hand and constant availability. And ultimately, just the tobacco that some factories are able to source is going to be different than others, and so we wanted to make sure that our blends were appropriate for the actual factory that we are working with. And then you had mentioned the master blender. So all of our cigars are rolled out of the Oveja Negra factory in Esteli.
Oh my goodness! Wow.
The fact that you didn't know that, I enjoy the fact that you didn't know that. Yeah.
I've been looking at the promo card here to see if I could find if it said anything about where they were manufactured at. Wow, that's awesome. So yeah. I mean, you got a pretty awesome company there manufacturing your sticks with a lot of great blenders and rollers and experience in that factory.
Yeah, and I mean, so the reality is that was the very first factory that Andre and I reached out to, because it was our Hail Mary. The way that we saw it was like, if we went into it, they were the number one factory that we wanted to work with. It was a long process for them to accept us, and there's a lot of them vetting us for a very long time before we ended up going down to Nicaragua. But one of the things that was very important was we wanted to rely on the Oveja Negra factory for construction of our cigars, and we wanted to rely on them for the sourcing of the tobacco. We did not want to rely on them for the blending. So we wanted to make sure that there's separation between what it is that they do and the name that they've established, and all the great things that come out of that factory, and what HDA is doing. So I can rest my head on my pillow at night knowing that our cigars are rolled by a factory where quality control is of the utmost importance. But all the blends are Andre and I's. So if you go on our website, that card that you have there, if you go on to our social media, you're probably, a lot of people don't know that we're rolled by the Oveja Negra factory, not because we're trying to hide it, but because we don't want to be viewed as like an Oveja Negra product. We don't want to be viewed as, we want to pave our own way, but also still relying on the great work that is done.
Of course. I mean, honestly, John said he told me, but I don't, that's something I would remember. I think John thinks he did tell me, but he didn't on that. So that's awesome. Like, I love that, but I also love the fact that, you're not hiding it, but you're also not telling it. It's one of those, it's like one of those things. I had a conversation with Dave Blanco, who's like, I'm like, your tobacco speaks for itself. And when you're talking to customers out there, it's like, well, I do all my own blending on this. Here's my idea behind the blending. Here's this. Oh, I guess if you need another reason why, I'm related to Plasencia and it's all Plasencia tobacco, if you need another reason. But it's not something that you start off the conversation with. And, for that, right there, I mean, for you, man, like, yeah, we did all this and this and this and this. And it's like a throwaway. Oh, yeah, Oveja Negra rolls our stuff. Like a throwaway line. I love that.
For sure. And there's one of the most frequent questions that we get from either in this forum or when we're talking to retailers is, well, what factory rolls you? Obviously that's super important from a retailer's perspective, right? Because they're going to be spending a lot of money purchasing cigars. They want to make sure that the cigars that they get are coming from a reputable factory. So, ultimately that's obviously extremely important to them. So, it's something that we get asked pretty frequently, and we're never afraid to mention it. But it's one of those that we don't flaunt it as you need to have HDA because we're rolled out of Oveja Negra. That's kind of the big difference, right?
Yeah, for sure. All right, so I'm smoking the Veiled Mutiny, and I'm 3 puffs in, and this thing is a banger already.
I'm glad you like
it. It's a certified banger 3 puffs in.
That's awesome. So that's our Ecuadorian Maduro. I say Ecuadorian Maduro. A lot of people hear that and it kind of a little pause. There's not a lot of Ecuadorian Maduro wrapper floating around. and that is one of the wrappers that we're able to procure through Oveja Negra, and so it's one that Andre and I were very eager to utilize. So yeah, that's one of our three core line blends, and I would say probably it's crazy, man. All three of our blends are like I don't. One of them isn't like significantly more popular than the other. They're I would say that the sales for all three are very, very equivalent to one another. So it's definitely one of the three most popular cigars. We'll put it that way.
Yeah, I could see why. Just off of the initial just off the initial first few puffs on this thing, like just the flavors I got on, I'm just like, all right. So now my expectation bar has been raised, to Olympic level just off of the first couple puffs.
Okay. All right. I'm eager to see what you think as it progresses. So when Andre and I, what was really important when we came up with these blends is we didn't want a static smoke, right? We didn't want something that was just going to be super bland all the way through. We really wanted we wanted it to change as you smoke through the cigar. I think Veiled Mutiny is a perfect representation of that.
Okay, that's good. John goes. The story brings you in. The cigars keep coming back. And I agree with that. I'm huge on the stories behind the blends. To me, that's just as much a part of the cigar as my actual smoking experience. If I understand the cigar and why, it increases my intention into it. That I want. It's like, man, I got to know more. I got to know more. On it.
Yeah.
So let's go over the names here. So Veiled Mutiny. Why that name?
So when we got each one of the 8 blends, that I think it was either 8 or 10. I can't remember. I think it was 8. When we got each one of the blends from sent to us from the factory after we left Nicaragua, we let them sit for a little bit. They were all numbered 1 through 8, and so we were like, all right, well, let's just we didn't even consult what the blends were. We just simply went off of the band 1 through 8, and we started with 1. And 1 just happened to be what you're smoking right there. And it was the very first cigar that we smoked of the 8. And we met up. We were sitting outside of a restaurant on their smoking patio. And we were like, man, we're talking about, I can't believe this is happening. We're like, we're really excited. This is the first cigar that we smoked. We're smoking it. We're like, man, this is a good tasting cigar. It's smooth. And then one of the things that I said early on was like, man, it doesn't really pack much of a punch. So it feels like it's on the lighter side because it doesn't smoke heavy. So we ended up smoking through, and we got about halfway through, and I was like, yeah, man, disregard what I said. Like, it started packing a little bit of a punch by the end. So that's why we called it Veiled Mutiny. It's kind of like the wolf in sheep's clothing. Tastes nice and light, airy a little bit towards the front end. I get citrusy, or maybe not citrusy, more like floral notes out of it, and so it's like light and airy, but it ends up sneaking up on you and packing up a little bit of a punch, and definitely telling you, yeah, it's in that medium plus range.
Excellent. Okay. Descending Shadows there.
Yeah, so Descending shadows, that's our Ecuadorian sun-grown wrapper. That one, right out the gate, it hits you with a little bit of pepper. Yep. So that's it right there. So just kind of backing up a little bit, we have, like I said, 3 blends. All of our bands look exactly the same, just different color schemes. So it's a white band, a black band, and a gray band. And that's how we ended up kind of distinguishing between the 3. Obviously 3 different names, but outside of that, the band design, the box design are exactly the same. We wanted to kind of keep it uniform. But yeah, so Descending Shadows, it's one of those that it felt like it was the build. It felt like it was just like an incoming fog, and it just kept building and building. The flavor, I mean, it hits you right up front. It hits me with pepper right on the front of the tongue, and it definitely builds in terms of intensity, but then also in terms of flavor. And that last half of that cigar really turns into, I think it was John actually that kind of mentioned this. It almost tastes like a s'more, like a campfire on that back. So that's why we kind of came up with the name Descending Shadows. And then the last one is the one that I'm smoking here, which is the Black Band. So that is the Cataclysm. And the Cataclysm was the one that I would say, yep, the Cataclysm was the one that just felt, when we smoked it, it just felt epic. Like it was one of those that it felt like we really, really got something here. That was the cigar that it really, really excited Andre and I. Like every blend had its own qualities, but this is one that was just a very exciting cigar. The intensity in it, the intensity in terms of flavors, but the fact that it is so smooth, you can retrohale the entire cigar. I know, because I've said that you could probably retrohale the entire cigar. So I decided I'm going to give it a shot, and I retrohaled an entire one of these cigars. No, that is not an exaggeration. Every single puff was a retrohale, just to say that I did it. It's a testament to how smooth it is, but it was just like a very big event, which is what a Cataclysm is. And so hence the name Cataclysm.
Oh, very good. Wow, man, this is a good stick. No,
thank you, man. I really appreciate that. It means a lot.
Yeah, man, I'm really digging it. I'm really digging the flavor profile. Right off the bat, the first two puffs brought me in immediately, and then from there it's been a total love fest.
Good.
Now that I'm about a quarter of the way through the first third. So, yeah, delicious. I'm trying to slow down. I'm finding myself fast puffing because it's that good.
Yeah, I find myself fast puffing every cigar that I smoke. I have to make a conscious effort to slow down because I keep wanting to smoke it. I end up smoking a little fast. So no, I feel
yeah. So I met you at PCA, and how did that show go for you?
It was awesome, man. It was crazy. It was if anybody that's listening to this has not been, if you ever get the opportunity to go, I would highly recommend just going and checking it out because it's a pretty cool experience. So it was Andre and I's very first PCA ever in attendance, and then also obviously as a company too, because last year's PCA was like the same month that we launched, and there was no way that we were going to be able to go, and we weren't ready. So this year we actually felt like we were ready to go. We had, some people that were like, no, man, you're too green, don't go. We ultimately decided to take the plunge and jump in and go. And man, I'm really, really glad that we did. We met some awesome people. We formed some really great relationships. We got to catch up with retailers and partners and people that we hadn't seen in a while, people that we hadn't met in person. And we got to see a bunch of people, and we got to spread the HDA love around the country. We ended up moving into probably three or four new states. We got to kind of move out west a little bit, out your way, because we are based in Virginia on the East Coast. So we got to expand a little bit west, which was great. And yeah, it was fantastic. Really, really enjoyed PCA. And I go to, for my day job, I go to conferences on occasion, but to be able to go to one of these conferences and smoke cigars is pretty amazing. It's pretty awesome.
That's all it is cigars out there. Well, that's good, man. I'm glad that it went well for you. A lot of first time brands find it, disheartening because they kind of have this idea built up in their head. And I usually have, when I talk to first time brands that are going, I'm like, you just got to realize that it may not happen for you this year, but the fact that you're there is important because all those retail shops that swung by and said hi or grabbed a sample from you, they'll be back next year and they're going to remember you. And so that's an important step. You're gonna take a big financial hit that first year, but that second year you're gonna realize that it gets a lot easier as people start recognizing who you are. So I'm glad you had a really good first year.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of lessons learned, things that we can do better next year. But overall, I mean, I think we went into it very prepared. We also went in with very low expectations, so you know that's expectation management is obviously important in anything you do. But that was the case when we went in. We knew that we were the small guy. We knew we were totally okay with that. We had a nice small booth, and that's look. Frankly, man, I'm not trying to get into any sort of like dick measuring contest with some of these guys that put up these big, massive booths. That's cool, man. We're not there yet, so we were very happy staying in our lane, and we got to meet some really really cool people. I think we ended up increasing our total shops by, I think we added like another 40% of the 40% increase in shops while we were there.
That's
So
awesome.
yeah, it was great. And I mean, look, the reality is that Andre and I are not in this game to get rich by any stretch. That was not our expectation going in. We're in this because it's genuinely something that we really love. We love the community. As we understand that what is the cigar community, we're loving it even more and more. And to be able to meet a bunch of people who share the same passion as you, and just like meeting the husband and wives that own a cigar lounge in Texas, or meeting the guy that has that has put all of his life savings into a lounge and has been running that lounge for the last 20 years. Like meeting those people it was freaking awesome, man. It was really really cool understanding and hearing people's stories.
Well, yeah, I think John is didn't realize how good you guys did. I think he's expecting some recognition there, and you're not going to get it, John. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
No, he's probably saying wait what to the fact that I said that we weren't in this to get rich. He's
Oh,
probably under the impression that he's gonna be getting rich somehow. I'm not really
yeah.
sure.
Um, this is one of those. This is one of those. It's a hobby, is what it is. It costs a lot of money, and it's one of the few hobbies out there that you literally burn money. That's in factual terms out there. Like I don't own a brand, but I know how much money I invest uh, into cigars and for content and everything I do out there, and to go to the trade shows. So I get it. I'm not in it to get rich, but I'm in it for the passion and the love to bring brands like you to the table there, so people who haven't heard of you can find you and can check you out, and they can have an enjoyable experience uh, with the cigar like I'm currently having with this one right now. It's fantastic. Like I'm digging it. So yeah.
Yeah. No. Yeah. I look, man. If my like the best part about this, and the reason why I still have a full-time job as well, and the reason that I do this is I give up all kinds of time after work, my weekends, time away from the family. I do it because I genuinely enjoy this type of work, and Andre's the exact same way. We love it. I mean, we just had Friday night and Saturday night. We had events at some of our retail lounges in the area. I mean, it was awesome. Really, really greatly enjoyed it. And those are the reasons why we want to do this job, is so that way we can do those types of events.
That's great, man. So I was told that you have a funny story involving Ed Reed.
Jesus Christ, John.
Ha!
This guy.
Ha!
This
Ha! Ha!
guy,
Ha!
dude. All right. Well, okay, yeah. So the first day of PCA, again, if you haven't been to PCA, just imagine a situation where you're waking up at the ass crack of dawn. You're lugging all your stuff from your truck to like kind of throw into your booth. You're assembling your booth. Well, at least we did. We assembled our booth every morning. We would tear it down every night, but we would assemble it. And then it's just all day of just like talking with people, answering questions, smoking cigars, samples. You're not really eating a whole lot. You're not hydrating very well. You're just busy, 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 busy. And it was by the end of the day. All right, we stayed from as soon as the booth opened as soon as the show opened until it closed. And so show closes, and I'm smoked, just dog tired. And I know that we're going to end up having to go to a happy hour as well to go talk with people. And I was just smoked. And so we're walking out of the show. I'm kind of just on autopilot. And so I should also state that I'm a very big football fan, right? So I know who Ed Reed is. I need that to be understood. If you said the name Ed Reed, I'm like, oh yeah, I know Ed Reed. I understand that he's obviously a first ballot Hall of Famer. He's probably one of the best DBs in the history of the game, even though he's a Raven. I understand who Ed Reed is. We get out front, and one of my buddies walks up to this guy that now turns out to be Ed Reed. I didn't realize it was Ed Reed at the time. And he starts talking to him just very casually. And this buddy of mine is not in the cigar industry. He's a cigar fan. He came out and he was kind of helping us out with some stuff. He's a big cigar guy, but he's not in the industry. And we work at our day job together. And he's talking to Ed Reed just very matter-of-factly. I didn't realize that they had already met before in the past at a cigar lounge. But so they're just talking. Ed is an extremely approachable guy. He doesn't give off this feeling of, oh man, you're in like the presence of like somebody like a celebrity. He just acts like a very normal guy. So we're kind of he's kind of talking about us, and we meet, and he's saying things like thank you for your service, which was very kind of him, and just being a normal guy. And we ended up giving him some samples of the cigars, and he had mentioned Lee Marsh, who is the owner of Stolen Thrones. And so he had mentioned, he said Lee, and I was like, oh, Lee Marsh? He's like, yeah. And I was like, oh, nice. How do you know Lee? Are you like, he had mentioned working with Lee. That's what it was. He had said that he works with Lee. And I was like, oh, you work with Lee. I knew Lee was obviously the owner. And I was like, oh, nice. You work with Lee. Are you like a rep? And he's like, nah, man, he rolls my cigars. I have my own line. And I was like, oh, nice. You have your own line. Okay, cool. And that was kind of it. And we start walking away. All right, have a good one. Start walking away. My buddy's like, dude, what are you doing, man? And I was like, what? He's like, that's Ed fucking Reed, man. And I was like, oh, I like turned around, and I was like, the entire time I was looking at this guy, I was like, dude, his face kind of looks familiar, but I wasn't sure if I ran into him at the show earlier today. Starts walking away, and I was like, oh my God, that is actually Ed Reed. And now I didn't get to see him the entire rest of the show, and I was wishing I had, because I wanted to go back up to him and be like, hey man, I'm a complete doofus. But I didn't fangirl over him like I probably would have if I'd known who he was. So yeah, I guess I didn't. I made a fool out of myself in a different way. Look, man, super genuine guy. I'm telling you, like I at no point thought like this guy was like, super wealthy or like, just like somebody who thought very highly of himself. Genuinely good dude.
We've all done that. We've all had those.
Apparently, John thinks he hasn't.
John. But that's John. He's a celebrity and superstar on his own. There, he's a social media superstar.
He sure is.
Yeah,
he sure is.
Yeah. Well, we've had it, and I've met Ed a couple of times at PCA, and awesome dude.
Yeah.
And so I get it. He's very low key, down to earth, very approachable. Like not like what you would expect somebody like him to be. Like you kind of expect him to be guarded and reserved. But I've noticed that some of these bigger, especially some of these bigger athletes that are in the industry are like that. They're just super chill and down to earth and approachable out there. Like Leon Cersei, like he, despite the fact that the man's 9'7", is a very down to earth dude and wants to like talk to you. I mean, he'll shake your hand and his entire hand covers your hand, but but he wants to like sit down and just talk to you and get to know you. And that's what I love about a lot of the people in our industry here is that they're just chill. They're like that, especially the celebrities that are out
Yeah.
there.
Even though I made an ass out of myself, I'll say that. He was a good dude, and he wasn't like offended or anything that I didn't know who he was. It wasn't like, dude, come on, man, you don't
He
know
was
who I
probably
am.
glad that you didn't know who he was.
Yeah, he probably was. Yeah, he probably gets it all the time.
He
But
does.
I felt like a complete idiot. I would like to think that most other days I would see him and know who he was, but definitely didn't that day. But I have another story for you since we're sharing stories, and this is story time, John. So I was on Andre and I were on another podcast, and we were kind of talking a little bit about the company and sharing our story, and John was like he is now, kind of stalking in the comments, and so he was in the comments, and we were talking about the company, and we mentioned that John he's our only rep for the company. So it's Andre and I own the company, and then John covers a lot of like the southeast, so like think South Carolina, Georgia, Tennessee, kind of covers that region. And then up into North Carolina a little bit too. So he kind of covers that region for us. So we were just kind of mentioning that he's a good dude, and he was kind of like a big fan of the brand, and now he's one of us. I consider him, this is his company as well. I said, he's for those of you who don't know John, he's a big ass white beard. And so I said, John has been like a grandfather to us, and so that got a nice laugh. And so then after that, I started calling him Papa John, which just was even better. And so I changed him to Papa John in my phone, and now the name started to catch on, and now everybody's starting to call him Papa John. So he's like my grandfather John, Papa John.
I'm gonna have to change his name to Papa John in my phone now.
Yeah,
that's great.
Yep. Yeah.
Thank you for that.
You're very welcome.
Well, if you want an embarrassing story here, so probably 12, 13 years ago, Coke used to fly us to Atlanta all the time for training. And so I'm in Atlanta and we're out to dinner, and who walks in the door but Hank Aaron. And now I immediately fanboy out. All right, because I'm like, oh my, that's Hank Aaron. Everybody at the table I'm at, they're like, who? I'm like, Hank Aaron. They're like, who? I'm like, the greatest baseball player of all time, Hank Aaron.
Gosh.
Yeah. The home run king, Hank Aaron. And they're like, okay, whatever. They're talking. I could care less what they're saying. For the whole time I'm saying, I'm just stalking him with my eyes, because now I'm like, I got.
It's Hank Aaron, dude.
It's Hank Aaron. The moment he stood up from his table, I beelined it right to him. And I had one of those blacked out moments because I made a total ass of myself. Because I was, Mr. Aaron, I am such a huge fan. You're my favorite baseball player. You're the guy. I can't believe it. Oh, my goodness. And I kept calling him King. Because I think I had it stuck in my head, home run king. And so I kept calling him King. And some big security dude, had to get in there and push me off. He goes, oh, Mr. Aaron, appreciate your fandom. I'm like, I love you, King. Oh, my goodness.
Like, were you drunk, or was this just
I hadn't been drinking. I was just...
That's awesome.
I saw him, and I fanboyed, and I just couldn't... I couldn't believe it anymore. I was out of it. And everybody's in the restaurant is staring at me as I just made an ass of myself in front of one of the greatest athletes ever.
Yeah, it's Hank Aaron.
It's Hank Aaron. And that's how I'm like, it's Hank Aaron. Who isn't going to fanboy out over him?
Yeah, man. That's pretty... I like that. That's pretty funny.
Oh, yeah. I tend to hold it together pretty well around celebrities and such, but for that, I lost it.
Yeah, I've had a few celebrity encounters, and I've never I've never met anybody like to that level. Like I played man, this is years ago. I played poker with like Nelly, the rapper, and like I met some football players. I met like Dallas Clark and stuff like that. But Hank Aaron that's next level, man. So can't even fault you on that one. I can't even fault you on that one. I probably would have security would have probably put their hands on me too and been like, hey, all right, get the hell out of here. Stop calling him king. Get the hell out of here.
Yeah, I'm like, go back to your table. Go back. I'm just like, yeah, well, and growing up in New Mexico and spent, I've met a lot of celebrities and a lot, when my parents, we didn't have a whole lot of money or anything, but my parents saved up and were finally able to buy some land and build their dream home. There were quite a few celebrities that were like our neighbors that lived right by us, famous actors and and I never thought anything of it, like a mile and a half down the road, Robert Redford built this monstrosity of a house, and my parents got invited to the home to the welcome party that he threw. And my dad when my dad got back, I was like, "How was it?" He's like, "It's a beautiful home. It's not practical for anything." I was like, "I'm sure it is." You go, "Hey, why do you need an Olympic-sized fountain in your front yard? We're in the desert." And I'm like, "I don't know." He's like, "There's a helipad." I'm like, "I understand the helipad, but He's like, "Yeah, it's just, you just kind of go." I had to run in with Val Kilmer when I was in high school.
Oh, snap!
And
nice.
And he was a total ass. And that was when he used to live, in Pecos, which is like 45 minutes northeast of Santa Fe. And like we were in high school and we were walking into the mall in Santa Fe, and he was coming out, and so was me and a few others and some girls. He just opened the door and walked out the door as if he didn't own it, almost hit one of the girls we were with in the face with it. And I was like, "Bro, you're not going to apologize?" And he's like, "I don't." And he's like, "I don't have to apologize for anything." And I'm like, "Yeah, you better keep walking, Iceman." And
no shit. Did you actually say that?
Yeah, I go, "You better keep walking, Iceman." And he turned and looked at me, and I started walking towards him, and a couple of the people I was with grabbed me. He's like, "No, man, no. There's no coming back from that one." And I was like, "Yeah, okay."
Well, look here. Okay, so let's say you end up getting into a physical altercation with Val Kilmer. I assume on TV or on movies, he looks like he's a pretty big guy, right? Was he a big dude?
No.
Okay. Well, so I was gonna say, like, if you get your ass kicked by Val Kilmer, it's like people will be like, "Oh yeah, that's expected." Or you could beat his ass.
He's probably. I was taller than he was, and bigger. I'd say he's probably like 5'9", maybe, and he was like 160 pounds.
No shit.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought he looked, man, I don't know. I guess I assumed he was a lot bigger than that.
In my peak in high school, because I played I was a football and baseball player in high school. My peak in high school, I'm 6 foot. During the football season, I was pushing 260, 265, and 225 during baseball season. So, I wasn't like a small dude in high school. I was a big dude, and and coming from the growing up in the hood, I didn't care who he was. All I cared about was, dude, this is a girl you almost smashed with the door because you think you're entitled.
I feel like that's a good opportunity. Like if you're gonna get in a physical altercation with a celebrity, it's better that than like you accidentally getting into a physical altercation with Hank Aaron because you're fangirling over him.
I know.
Much better.
Getting my ass kicked by security guard. Yeah. That sounds way better than getting in a fight with a celebrity.
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. We know he's dead. I'm sad he's dead. Well, also I was in high school and I was a very angry kid. So if I didn't have my wits about me, I probably would have gone over and fought him, but I didn't.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
You know,
Yeah.
you hold your own on that one out there.
How was PCA for you, man?
It was good. You know, the last couple years I went with a brand, and so I wasn't doing like media stuff. You know, I you know, I would take care of, I would take some short breaks when I was with a brand, because I'd walk the floor. I can't stay behind a booth. I'd walk the floor and talk to people. My thing when I was working with the brand was I'd look for retailers that were going to the map. And then I would walk up to the map and look like I was looking for something and strike up a conversation and then hand out some samples or walk them all back to the booth on this. So this was the first time in a couple of years I actually did media, and it was a lot of work. I forgot how much work it is to do the media coverage, but
Sure.
I enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun. I actually like New Orleans quite a bit better than Vegas for the fact that, in reality on it, with Vegas, there's just so much going on and you're out so late and you're drinking and New Orleans was like midnight and it's like, yeah, I think I'm going to call it a night, and you just call it a night. And
Yeah.
so you weren't getting in at 4:00 in the morning.
That's very true. Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. I was in bed a little bit earlier than that, so I was. Those days are long, man. I was wiped. I was ready for bed, man.
It took me forever to edit all the videos.
I bet.
And that was like that's the downside on the whole thing for me was all the editing I had to do. There was so much background noise and music playing. I had to cut audio out and then put audio back in, take background noise out. It was a lot of work on my behalf, and I hope that the people who watched all the interviews enjoyed them.
Yep.
Because it was a lot of work, and I kind of put them up everywhere. I'm just like, you know what? I'm just posting these interviews every place that on all social media. You guys watch them if you want. I'm not going to make you go to one certain spot to check them out. Watch them as you want, and I don't care. But I think they went pretty good. A lot of people were very, the reception, at least from some people who talked to me or left comments, has been positive.
Good. That's good. Are you able to see what brand you used to go to PCA with?
Oh yeah, Family by Loyalty with
Oh, cool.
Alan. They did not go this year. They took the year off. Alan did show up, but he didn't have a booth this year. So and I had other brands offer to bring me in and if I wanted to do the work, but I kind of wanted to have a little bit of freedom to do what I was supposed to do. And I had talked with Brandy, who's my partner on Tuesday nights, and she was supposed to come, and so we were going to kind of really make it about really promoting the Tuesday show a whole lot more and make it more of a thing. But with her her day job that gets her pay, that she gets paid to do, she had an emergency pop up and had to kind of bail out to take care of that. So,
gotcha. Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, Alan, I've gotten to meet Alan a couple different times, and he's we got to meet him for the first time at Toro Cigar Company does their Veterans Day event. So we got to meet him last Veterans Day. Super good dude. I also got to see him at PCA and catch up with him. Very good guy, good cigars, man. I wish them nothing but the best. They're kind of one of the brands that are a few years ahead of us that we kind of look up to. So good stuff.
So did John make you listen to Taylor Swift writing to and from PCA?
No, he just sang Taylor Swift the entire time. Yeah, I live in Northern Virginia and drove out to New Orleans. So I drove down to South Carolina where John is, spent the night, and the two of us rode. He rode shotgun to PCA. So we like physically moved our booth out and then loaded everything up and moved it back. So yeah, got to spend probably more time than John cared to spend with me on the way out and on the way back. But yeah, no, it was good. No, he didn't make me listen to Taylor Swift. Just he was singing a lot of Taylor Swift though.
And you know, I got to witness firsthand last year his total fanboyness for Taylor.
Yeah.
You know,
He's a big Miley Cyrus fan though. He wasn't enjoying some Miley Cyrus.
Yeah, party in the USA. All right.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
Exactly.
All right. Yeah. You know, yeah, kudos to you, John. I mean, it takes a real man to admit those types of things out there.
Yeah, he wasn't ashamed of it either. He just, he just enjoys what he enjoys. So, like, definitely don't fault him for it. I hope, nobody gives him crap for it, but I hope it's just, look, you gotta enjoy what you enjoy.
Yeah, you gotta enjoy what you enjoy. I like that. Better than Fall Out Boy. Oh, okay.
Hey, man. If you insist, dude. If you insist. So who's your favorite person that you got to meet at PCA?
I don't really think I had a favorite person I got to meet. A lot of the brands that I have personal relationships with, it's always great catching up with them because from a lot of them, I only get to see them, a couple times a year. So it was always nice catching up. It's usually I see them at trade shows. If they come to Colorado and do a cut and light, I show up to support them because we have a personal relationship. And if they come for like Rocky Mountain Cigar Fest, I'll see them. But other than that, I don't get to see a lot of these brands often. So it's just nice getting to see those brands that I have a personal relationship with.
Nice, very cool.
I enjoyed
very cool.
I liked it. It was cool. I got to meet Guy Fieri for like the first time ever, and very nice guy.
Nice.
That was kind of cool. Very very humble, down to earth dude. From just a few second interaction with him, so that was like nice.
Yeah. I saw him there, but I didn't get an opportunity to actually meet him. But he seems like he's a pretty he's a good dude. I mean, look, he's made 15-year television career just getting to know normal people that own restaurants across the country. So I got to imagine he's a very relatable, just good, down to earth guy. Otherwise, I can't imagine that show would do very well.
It was, and I smoked his new one, that Knuckle Sandwich Puro. It's a banger.
Yeah.
So I liked it. I just enjoy catching up with people I don't. I either only get to see at trade shows or maybe a couple times a year. Getting to see John. I only see John at PCA, so that's the only time I ever get to see him. So
Lucky.
It's nice catching up and meeting with a lot of those people out there.
Yeah. Good stuff, man.
I really like this cigar.
Yeah, how far in are you?
I'm entering the final third.
Nice. So far, so good.
So far, so good. It is delicious. There's like as I started getting into this final third, there's a minty freshness that I'm picking up that's really nice on it, like an after dinner mint.
Interesting.
I like it. It's very nice. It's very nice on the palate.
Yeah, that's one that it doesn't. I would say that not every cigar has that. Has almost like a lighter taste to it, and it shouldn't be. I think a lot of times people mix up like taste and body very often, but like you can still have like a fuller body cigar that's still like a lighter taste in terms of not super, like it's just not going to blow out your palate. which a lot of that medium plus range can tend to do. And Maduros especially, I tend to get that a lot with Maduro. So yeah, I'm glad you're enjoying that.
It's very good. It's very good.
Awesome, man.
Let's see, Island Jim and Kevin from Cigar Pop. That's who you are happy to meet.
All right, well, I
see that. Island Jim's a legend, and Kevin, one of the biggest names in the media circuit out there. And Kevin's such a cool, down to earth, humble dude.
Yeah, he's a good dude. I mean,
have you been on his show?
Both of them as well. No, we have not been on his show yet. I think we talked. He interviewed me at PCA, and I think we're going to end up trying to hopefully get something arranged to be on his show. But I know everybody's for the first month or two post PCA. I think everybody's pretty slammed. So I'll probably end up reaching out to him and maybe in June, in a couple of weeks.
That's
trying to see if we get something scheduled.
That's how you really kind of know you've made it as a brand if you can pop up on his show. That's one of the things that I always look out for with a lot of the small brands that I'm really high on and I promote a lot is if they make it on his show. To me, it's almost validation that I've been right about the brand. Because Kevin just doesn't bring anybody who wants to come on his show. I mean, you have to. He's very meticulous about who he brings on, and when I see it's a brand that I've been on for a long time, I'm like, yep, I was right about them. I was right. Nice. They're a banger brand. They make good sticks, so I'm glad to see that he's and if you go on his show, man, that's great for you, man. That's such huge, big promotion out there that will really help you and grow that brand even bigger.
Yeah, I mean, it would be an honor. He had mentioned one, definitely. I think it's just us trying to find a time to get out there and hopefully get on the show, which would be great. So no, it would definitely be an honor going on the show. I've been watching his stuff for years, probably not as long as John. John was really fangirling over him. But no, it would definitely be cool. That was one of the things again about PCA is got to see a lot of big names and people coming up to us. Like we got to open up a couple of accounts in particular, like what would be like very like bigger accounts, and it was very validating. Like Creekside Cigar Company brought us on, and Creekside, they're really big in social media right now. Small Batch brought us on as well, which is really cool. And both
I did see you in Small Batch in their posts, and that's awesome. I love to see that. You're a perfect fit for a place like Small Batch to go into.
Yeah, they were really cool people as well. So Dave is the gentleman that we spent most of our time talking to. I mean, just like a lot of that stuff is it definitely felt really good. A lot of they're like those titans in the industry, and maybe not the Titans, but they're the big guys. And so really cool.
That's huge. And I buy a lot from Small Batch. They have a lot of stuff out there that I'm always looking for that you really can't find in a lot of places. They're like one of the places that has it when you're looking for it, and they do great samplers out there, and their cigar of the month club, the 30, 50, and $100 club. The $30 a month club is banger, man. I've gotten so many sticks in that $30 club that are like $40, $50, $60 sticks, and I'm like, holy cow! Like that pays for like 2 months worth of the subscription for one of these really rare sticks that you don't find. They sell out really quick when they come out.
Yeah, that was, I think, part of the reason that I was like, that was like a big deal to me is because I've been, 10, 15 years I've been buying cigars from them. Probably it's got to be about that long. And it was pretty cool to be able to like say that our cigars are now on their website I'm pretty sure, I might be wrong, I'm pretty sure actually Black Label. That was one of my very first purchases from their website. Was Black Label, Romocraft back when they were smaller as well. I'm pretty sure I got off of their website. They were one of the first places I bought it. I don't do a lot of online cigar shopping, but that was one of the places I really enjoyed going to, especially as I started really diving into like boutiques and smaller brands rather than large legacy brands. Well before I ever thought about starting a cigar brand with Andre.
Yeah, I've got 3 websites that, when I'm looking for specific small brands or boutique brands that I go to every time, because if anybody has them, it's going to be one of those three one of those 3 retailers, and usually one of those 3 has exactly what I'm looking for.
Who are they, if you don't mind me asking?
So Small Batch is one that I go to. Oak Glen Tobacconist in California is the other, and Black Box Cigar Club are the 3
Nice.
that I tend to go to, because they always seem to have exactly what I'm looking for, or they always have somebody I've never heard of and I want to know more about them. So
Yeah,
it's like, I got to buy this because I've never heard of this brand before, and I got to check them out.
yeah, no doubt. Oak Glen was another one that we were able to get our cigars on late last year. So that was another big deal for us too. That was huge. Eric,
Eric's
his
great,
wife,
dude.
yeah, really,
I
really
love
good people.
I love his society box he does every month. It's usually, one banger after another that comes out of the society box, or an exclusive only for them. And so, yeah, I'm a big fan of Eric and what he does.
Well, that's a good transition into Oak Glen is one of the many retailers that are going to be actually picking up our very first short run cigar that we're going to be doing.
Oh wow!
We're timing it up to release it in time for the 4th of July, and so the plan is, assuming we don't have any delays, to release it for the 4th of July, and Oak Glen will be one of the ones carrying that cigar. So it's going to be called Phantom Fury. So we're really looking forward to it.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah,
I'm happy, man. You guys. I think you guys, just off of this first stick, I have no doubts that the other 2 blends are gonna be they're gonna crush it on it. I got no doubts, man, because this is a phenomenal smoke, man. It's really good. Like, I'm vibing with it, like, good. So
thank you, man.
I'm happy to have, definitely happy that I'm gonna have to go and pick some of these up and keep them stocked in the humidor.
Thank you. Yeah, the kind words are always really, really. It means a lot to Andre and I. When people genuinely enjoy our cigars, it means a lot, because Andre and I, we received that first order, we loaded it into our humidor, and we're standing back and we're looking at this humidor and we're like, dude, I really, really hope that people enjoyed these cigars. Otherwise, we are going to have a lifetime of cigars, because we had probably about 20. I think our first order was 15,000 cigars, and we're like, man, I'll tell you, if other people don't like it, at least we got a lot of cigars to smoke through. So I mean, when we started the brand, so neither Andre or I obviously come from the cigar industry. So when we started this, it was, we received our first shipment and we didn't have a single account. We didn't have a ton of, decades worth of connections in the industry. This is something that we truly approached everything we did from the perspective of a consumer. We approached it like we were the consumer, because we were the consumer. And so we received that first shipment. And so we blended the cigars for stuff that we really liked. The cigars were a representation of what we enjoyed. It wasn't something that we were putting it together because we thought, oh, well, this type of blend is a lot more popular and it's going to be really big with a certain maybe demographic, or this is going to be really big because this is the hot type of tobacco to use. We simply blended cigars that we thought were were really, really good. And so it's been nice seeing other people really enjoy the cigars. It definitely validates it. It's like, oh, okay, cool. Other people are enjoying them too.
Well, I have found that with a lot of small brands out there that take it on as, well, we're consumers and we're consumers first, that their sticks are usually better because they blended for what they like as a consumer. And they're
Yeah.
thinking about, what would I want to smoke, what would I like. And I've had more enjoyable experiences with those um, with those cigars than I have with just somebody who's like, yeah, I just make them. I don't really think about it. So I think that was a great way to look at it, was to go, I'm a consumer and this is what I would want to smoke. And I know a lot of people like to smoke this too.
Yeah. 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 And we trusted that it was going to work, and so far, so good.
So are you are you looking forward to where the rest of 2025 takes you, knowing how hot of a start you had to start off the year?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're continuing to close accounts post PCA. We're continuing. We're at that point now where we're actually having retailers reach out to us. Hey, I've had your cigars. I would love to bring you into our shop. Or hey, I've heard about you through so and so. I would love to try your cigars and consider bringing you into our shop. And that's amazing too, right? Like, so the first year, we ended up bringing on 40, just over 40 retailers in our first year. I think it was right at 40 in our first year. And that was John, myself, and Andre. It was our blood, sweat, and tears. It was us pounding the pavement. Hey, let me tell you a little bit about us. A lot of people just not interested in bringing on a brand new brand that nobody's ever heard of. A lot of people just closed minded, and then, but then a lot of people that were willing to give us a shot tried the cigars and genuinely enjoyed us, and it's been a wild first 13 months. So yeah, we were in, I think it was about 40-45 retailers, and I think we just hit 62 retailers today. So we're continuing to grow. 2025 started off really hot, and it's looking like we're gonna continue the trend. We're doing a lot of events with our retailers. So post PCA, I think we've already had 5 or 6 cut and light events at various retailers. Yeah, we're excited to get out there and meet people, continue to tell people about the brand, continue to do these types of events, and just see how long we can go with this thing, man. We're enjoying the hell out of it so far. We're working on some new projects as well, so we're continuing to grow, man.
So it's easy to say that you've exceeded your expectations for where you thought the brand would be.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, yeah, less than 14 months in, yes, we've exceeded our expectations. Now that's not to say, like, we're still continuing to try, and we want to continue to get bigger and bigger and continue to do more things, and we're not slowing down anytime soon. But yeah, we've definitely exceeded our expectations. Continuing. The other thing is we're not just growing for the sake of growing. We're growing in avenues that we know that we are going to succeed. We're growing with retail partners that we think are really good partners for HDA. Ones that we know that we will be able to support really well, and ones that we know that will support us as a brand. I mean, just getting into a retailer, to say that you got into a retailer's, it doesn't really mean a whole lot to us. But when those retailers are reordering and placing more orders, and really enjoy the brand, and are telling their customers about us, and those are the retailers that we really want to work with.
So, so now that, again, about halfway into the year, you're set. I'm assuming you're setting goals for next year, for 2026. Are you gonna make adjustments to probably those goals that you thought you'd be at?
No, so to be honest with you, we're not really set. I'd be lying if I told you we're setting 2026 goals yet.
Okay.
We're really kind of taking things day by day. What we're looking at. So I don't even think of it as calendar years either. The other thing is, I don't necessarily look at things as from a calendar year. I look at it I've been kind of calling the HDA year. We started April 2nd of 2024. That was our 1 year mark. That is kind of where I baseline things, is off of our annual, our anniversary. So really where we're focusing our efforts isn't necessarily on performance metrics. We just want to make sure that we are so our number one goal is to continue to make sure that our core line is supported. Our core line is the forefront of everything that we do, and our core line is constantly in stock. Making sure that we always have inventory for our retailers is our number one goal. So that's where we're putting our efforts. We at the beginning of the year said that we wanted to do our first short run, and we wanted to time it up with the 4th of July. 4th of July is my favorite holiday. It's just not a lot of people do a 4th of July celebration, and we thought it fit the brand really well. And so we wanted to do like a 4th of July release for our first short run. So that's where we were kind of dedicating some of our extra brain bites. We're excited to see how Phantom Fury does. So it's going to be a Sumatra wrapper with 100% Nicaraguan blend, also rolled out of Oveja Negra, which we're really, really excited for that to come out. It's a really, really good cigar. And then we're starting to look at what can we do, not only just LEs or short runs, but maybe what can we do with our core line. So we're currently exploring a second Vitola for our core line. So right now our core line is 3 blends, all on a 6x54, 3 facings. That's it. And so we're kind of looking at what we could do with our core line and potentially introducing a second size. So that rather than necessarily looking at performance metrics, we want to continue to support the retailers that have supported us for the last year, and then continue to find other great retail partners that we think align well with what it is that HDA stands for and kind of what we mean.
That's awesome. So, like a lot of small brands out there, you have a job that actually pays you on that. Is for yourself personally, is the goal hopefully that you can turn over enough money on that you could make this your full-time job?
Yeah, absolutely. That is my goal. So eventually, and it's not only my goal, but it's also the inevitability of it, is that as we continue to grow, there's just going to be a demand for either Andre or I to move to this full time. And we decided pretty early on that it would be me that when that time comes, that it would be me that makes that transition. I think by me moving over to this full time, when that time comes, it'll allow us to do more in the way of cross country events. It'll allow us to do a lot more in the way of traveling. And it'll, eventually we're going to get to the point to where it's going to require our full time attention. We're not there yet, but it's definitely the inevitability of it is that it will become my full time passion / job.
Yeah, I wish I could get to that point to make that money to quit.
Yeah. Yeah.
But unfortunately, I gotta grind it out as a manual labor grunt for probably another 30 years.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's we'll see. We're taking it day by day. I don't want to I definitely, we have kind of back of the napkin goals of where we want to be, timeframes that we're thinking, but again, if you set your expectations low, you won't be disappointed. And we're enjoying the ride. We're enjoying the ride.
Going in back into your military there, did you come from a military family? Was that kind of inspiration into joining, or did you just join because that was one of the few options available to you?
No, I did come from a military family. My let's see, my dad was Army. My his dad was Air Force. My stepfather was Navy. Um, my I had a stepbrother that was also in the Navy, and another stepbrother that was in the Air Force. So yeah, I mean, there was a lot of service in my family, and it was something that I knew I wanted to do pretty early on. I was in high school, and just the idea of going to school right out of high school and going and studying something that I didn't really care a whole lot about. It didn't really seem super appealing. So yeah, I decided to join the military and do something that sounded a lot more fun, and I'm sure it was a lot more fun than than whatever I would have done had I gone to college. I'm originally from Iowa, so I would have gone to the University of Iowa. Not really sure what I would have studied, but I'm sure it definitely would not have been as fun as
Something with
as what I
corn,
did.
something with corner cows.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, the University of Iowa is known. They're a big medical school, and they do a lot in like the insurance realm.
Hmm.
Yeah. Uh,
Okay. Hmm.
Definitely not stuff I would have wanted to do. We'll put it that way.
I see. Okay. There you
Yeah.
go. Yeah. There was a time I was going to join the military, and I talked to you, and we were in the green room. I talked to you about that on that, and I ended up blowing out my leg on that. But I come from a military family too. My cousin was in the Marines and served during Desert Storm, and my grandpa was a bomber pilot in the South Pacific during World War II.
Wow.
Had 80 successful bombing runs and was shot down twice and got right back into a plane
No
and
shit.
continued. Yeah, and my
That's awesome.
one of my cousins took his diary from World War II and turned it into a book with all the pictures that he had taken. And
No shit, dude. That's so cool.
so one of my favorite is that there's a 2 week gap in his diary, and nothing. And it's like, well, wonder what happened during that 2 weeks. And then the next entry in there was just returned from 2 weeks leave in Australia. The women are nice, and nice was in quotes.
Dude, that's pretty sweet, man.
uh, uh, yeah, and for a guy who got shot down twice, and they wouldn't let him in because he was too old, and he was too old, and he was divorced and had a kid, and they wouldn't let him in, and so he went back because he that call of duty to the country because they needed pilots, and he had pilot experience, and so he lied about his age and lied about having a kid so he could go and perform his duties out there that was needed to because he was part of that group that said I'm not gonna I'm here to protect and defend America.
That's That's freaking awesome, man. Like you hear the stories about people that lie about their age because they're too young, but hearing about somebody lie about their age because they're too old, you don't hear a whole lot about that. That's freaking awesome, man.
Well,
What a great generation, dude. Some of the stories that generation of warfighters had is it's got to. I mean, it's just incredible. It's incredible.
so and one of my friends I grew up with is his grandpa kind of the same thing. He was an Italian immigrant and spoke no English, and he was 16 years old and joined the Marines, and basically had to learn English, and he kind of spitballed like pretending like Spanish because he didn't want there to be any issue with him being Italian, especially being at
Right.
war with Italy being involved in it, and so he was like trying to make up words that sounded Spanish so that they would think that he was Mexican, and And it's like, oh, yeah, he was 18, but he was 16 years old and shipped off, and shipped off and did 3 tours. Did 1 tour in Europe and did 2 tours in the South Pacific.
They don't make
They don't make people like that anymore. Out there. Today. Well, with today's generation out there, you couldn't get an 18-year-old kid, not many, to go out and get out of the house if called upon. I think it would be a lot of guys who are like us in our 40s, kind of over the hill. But it's like, hey, you need me? I mean, I'll do it.
Or guys like
strong or as fast as I was, but I'll do it if you need me.
Or guys like John, guys that are in their 70s,
Yeah, Papa John out there.
Papa John, yeah. My brother actually joined last year. He went through basic last year, and so he just finished his first round of tech school, and he's on his way up to SEER training up in Washington State right now. So he's driving cross country on his way up to Washington State for SEER training. So it'd be pretty sweet. So yeah, I mean, look, the reality is like generations are very different. That generation was very unique, but I've seen some of that younger generation. They're definitely different than ours, or the ones that preceded us. But there's still some hope, man. There's still some badasses that are sprinkled in for sure.
Yeah, I'm sure there's some badasses out there. One of the kids I went to high school with went to the Air Force Academy, and he flew the refueling jets. And when he got out, he got a job as a pilot with Delta or American Airlines, and now he just lives a cush life. He flies 2 days a week from Dallas to Paris, and spends 4 days in Paris, flies back, spends 4 days in Dallas, flies back. That's all he does, and I'm just like, that's like living the good life right there. And I'm like, wow, it's like that's all you do. Wish I, me? No, I'll drive 600 miles in a day.
I was when I was in. I worked with a bunch of pilots that were prior tanker dudes. So I got to do a lot with some of those pilots that are now airlines pilots, or I got to work with guys that had previously worked for the airline. So I would say, like, if I could go back and redo it, I'd probably end up getting my pilot's license, which would be pretty cool.
Yeah, that would be awesome to learn to fly. I just want to do it so I could avoid security at the airport.
You do. Those guys still got to go through security too, man.
I know, but more at like the private airfields or the small airfields where it's just a dude standing there looking at you and going, "You ain't got any weapons on you, do you? All right, man, go on ahead."
Yeah.
Yeah,
I guess
it's kind of back like it was in the old days.
It's funny. When I was in Afghanistan, this was back in 2000, probably 16, 17. I ended up one of the jobs I was doing some air combat missions while I was in Afghanistan, and a lot of the pilots that we had were all contractor pilots. So it was guys that were in the military, and then a lot of guys that had then done a bunch of gigs after they got out of the military, and then ended up taking this contracting gig, flying the aircraft that I would fly on. And one of the guys he had just left a gig where he was a pilot for like a private pilot for like the CEO of a company. And so it was like him and like one other, or like it was like him and like 3 other dudes. So it was like two-man crews that were always on call to fly the CEO around the country to different meetings that he had. And I was like, dude, that sounds like such a freaking cool job, man. Just kind of hang out, and he was like friends with the CEO, like they were cool. And so it was like you're just hanging out with your boys, flying around the country. He was like, oh yeah, I'd go to Vegas like once a month, and then he'd give us a couple $100 to go gamble in Vegas. It's pretty sweet, man. Like that would be a pretty cool gig.
Yeah, my neighbor, my neighbor, once he got out, he now does private contract. He works for a private contract security firm, so he's gone for 4 to 6 months. Comes back from 6 weeks or so, and then leaves again for 4 to 6 months. He just got back from Venezuela, where he'd been working private, uh, operating a chopper for a private security firm that keeps security for the oil rigs out there.
Nice.
And so, and he loves it. He's like, yeah, man. It's a good living. It's nice. You know, every country I go to, I'm there for a while. I got a girlfriend in every country. So if I just want to take a vacation and go to the Philippines, I got a girl in the Philippines. I got a girl in Guam. I got a girl in Venezuela. I'm like, wow. I
That's
think I did this. I think I did this all wrong. I probably can I go back? Can I go back to the year 2000 and change things up a little bit?
Yeah. Exactly.
I did this all wrong.
Yeah.
Man, this was great sitting down talking to you. I love the cigar.
You too, man.
Veiled Mutiny, certified banger.
Thanks, brother.
Certified banger. Putting it out there. So if y'all want to pick that up, you can head on over to HDA's website. It'll tell you exactly which retail shops near you carry the cigar. And by the sounds of it, there are some of the retail shops out there that also do online sales, so you can purchase if there's not one around you. But hound your local shop to give them a call to get them into there, so you can enjoy them quicker than waiting for the mail to screw your packaging up.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, we definitely appreciate those referrals of some retailers. Some of our best retail partners have been ones that were referrals from people that see the podcast or have tried the cigar somewhere and have referred some really cool shops. So we definitely appreciate it.
Yeah, so I got direct links to everything HDA down in the description. So I've made it easy for you to connect with them on social media and check out their website. If you missed any portion of this show or want to watch it again, it will be downloaded and put up on my Rumble page on Wednesday, so you can catch it up over there if you'd like. And probably within the next month or so, we'll have Zack will be back. He'll be with Brandy and I on the Tuesday show, and we'll be going over one of these other cigars, doing the live review. So he'll get to sit in the hot seat and listen to us yammer about probably how great that cigar is.
I hope so. I'm really glad you enjoyed the Veiled Mutiny, and I'm very eager for you to try the other two. So look forward to it, and I appreciate the kind words.
Excellent, and I appreciate you coming on. Everybody in the chat, thank you so much. I'm sorry if you came over from Facebook. I don't know why Facebook decided that it was not going to work tonight, but I appreciate you coming over here to YouTube to catch the show. And no show next week because it's Memorial Day, so you'll just have to go on a week without me, but we're back on June 2nd. Luke Cross from Lure Cigars will be my guest, so looking forward to sitting down talking with him. And that's it. Everybody, thank you so much. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Take care. Be safe out there. Don't do anything Zack and I wouldn't do because we're sweet and innocent boys. And we'll catch you later, everybody. Peace out.